Hi all, Ravensar here again with another EDH Commander deck tech for my boxing league. Today we're going to be going over Runo, Stromkirk. He's a 1 and a blue and a black to play, 1/4 Vampire Cleric with flying. And when Runo enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card. If a creature card with mana value of 6 or greater is revealed this way, transform this guy. And then, if you're able to meet those requirements, he transforms into Krakens, Lord of the Deep. He's a Kraken horror, 3/5 with flying. He says, whenever Krakens, Lord of the Deep, attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. If that creature is a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, create 2 of those tokens instead. This card is pretty good. He can get out of hand if everybody kind of just lets him be. And we'll get into why. First off, I'm going to go over cards that I got in this set, this Innistrad Crimson Vow. We're going to start out with Jacob Hauken, Inspector. I've talked about him a few times before, but I'll go over him one more time. Basically, he's going to be helping me get some value in here. You can tap him, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand face down. You may look at that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may pay 4 colors and double blue to transform Jacob Hauken. And when you do, Jacob Hauken turns into Hauken's Insight, which is a legendary enchantment, which says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library face down. And you may look at that card as long as it remains exiled. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land or cast a spell from among the cards exiled for this permanent without paying its mana cost. This is really good. It's going to give you value. Running Cemetery Illuminator in this deck. I've talked about this card before as well. In this deck, particularly, this card is going to do well because it says whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you get to exile a card from a graveyard. You may also look at the top card of your library anytime, and then once each turn, you may cast a spell from the top card of your library if it shares a card type with a card exiled with Cemetery Illuminator. This creature particularly is not legendary, so Krakens will be able to create copies of Cemetery Illuminator, and because it has an enter battlefield trigger, whenever the copy comes in, a trigger will go off. Also, whenever it attacks, the triggers will go off, and you'll be able to play multiple cards up the top of your library. It's pretty good. Cemetery Desecrator, I'm also running this guy. Talked about him before as well. He also will be able to be copied by Krakens. This guy has a enter the battlefield or dies ability. So whenever he enters the battlefield or dies, exile another card from a graveyard. It doesn't have to be yours. When you do, you get to choose one. Remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the mana value of the exile card, or target creature an opponent controls gets -X till end of turn, where X is the mana value of the exile card. More often than not, using this guy, you'll probably just be hopefully taking a creature out, and Krakens will help you create multiple Cemetery Desecrators. Pretty good. Here we go. I'm running Dreadlight Monstrosity. It's 4 colors, double blue to play. It's a crab horror, 5/5 with ward 2. You can pay 3 colors in double blue for Dreadlight Monstrosity. It can't be blocked this turn, but I can only activate it if I own a card in exile. Really, I'm using this guy because he's a crab horror. So Krothis will be able to make... oh. Krothis will not be able to make multiple copies of this guy. My mistake. But he'll still be able to make copies of the guy if I need to. Oh, that's my mistake. This guy's a crab. That's funny. I thought he was a Kraken. Oh well. You can still make copies of this guy with Krothis. So that's pretty good. He meets the requirement of having a 6 CMC or more. So at least there's that. You learn something new every day. Should have been paying attention, eh? Also running a Dreadfast Demon. Again, I've talked about this guy. He can get out of control on his own already. He is a good card. This guy can be pretty gross. But with Krothis on the field, he'll be able to make multiple copies of himself on top of the multiple copies he's already going to be making. So this guy right here can get out of hand. This guy is a Kraken. See, I got one. I think that's where I might have been getting some confusion there, but that's okay. Hullbreaker Horror. Hullbreaker Horror is a Kraken horror. This guy is disgusting. Not even in this deck. Disgusting already, but in this deck, ridiculous, because Krothis will make multiple copies of this guy, and whenever you cast a spell, all their triggers will go off, so you just bounce a bunch of stuff. So that's pretty gross. Having multiple copies of this guy is disgusting. But probably more disgusting is Troxrill, the Corrosive. He's legendary, so you're not going to be able to make copies of this guy, but you don't need to. He's gross enough. He literally just has to exist. He's 5 colors, double black to play, 7/7 slug horror. Says at the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. And whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, you get to create a 1/1 black slug creature token. You also may pay a blue and a black and sacrifice a slug to draw a card. This guy is just gross on his own, but he's just added helpfulness to getting Krothis to be disgusting. So also running Undying Malice. It's a black instant to play. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, trigger the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It's pretty good. I got some EDB triggers in here. You know, since I'm running this guy's going to generate copies of people, hopefully. So if anybody dies, I can use this to get them back if I really need the ETB. Or if Krothis is getting taken out, I can bring that guy back. I think he comes back as the other dude, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers at this point. Serpentine Ambush, running this as well. 1 colorless and a blue instant to play. Until end of turn, target creature becomes a blue serpent with base power toughness 5/5. Really, you want to utilize this on something that is not a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent. So I could use this on my Dreadlight Monstrosity here. So it can be one of the things that I'm looking for Krothis. But what it'll do is it'll become a 5/5 Serpent. Krothis will see the Serpent, create multiple copies of the creature, but it'll be multiple copies of the actual creature, not the 5/5 Serpent. So this is pretty good. Last but not least from this set, I'm running Count Dracula, aka Sorin the Mirthless. He is 2 colors and double black to play. He's really good. He's going to help with some advantage here. You You +1 him to look at the top card of your library, and you may reveal that card and put that card in your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to mana value. You can -2 him to create a 2/3 black vampire creature token with flying and lifelink. Or you can -7 him, and Soren will deal 13 damage to any target, and you gain 13 life. So pretty good, like this. All in all, some good cards in this new set that I'm utilizing for this deck, so I'm happy with that. Even though Dreadlight Monstrosity isn't Leviathan or Kraken or whatever, that's fine. I can make it into one if I need to. That's fine. Alright, well, let's see what else I'm running for this guy. I got my Horde Robber here. He's going to help me out with creating some treasures, hopefully. He has to do it on combat damage, but I think I can make that happen. I need mana in this deck, so this guy's going to help me out. Running Bloodline Pretender in here because he's got Changeling. So Crothus will make multiple copies of Bloodline Pretender. I can choose one of the creature types that he's got listed there, and whenever my multiple copies of Bloodline Pretender enter, the ones that are still on the field, when they see that happen, will get +1/+1 counters. So this guy could end up becoming ridiculously big in just a few turns. So that's why I'm running him. Running Morbid Opportunist because, like I said before, this guy is going to draw you cards. People are dying all the time in this game as far as creatures go. So you should be utilizing that for card advantage. Running Pawn of Ulamog because I really need some ramp. So whenever this guy or another creature that non-token creature that I control goes to the graveyard, I'm getting an Eldrazi token to help me. I can sack it for a colorless mana if I need to. Running Varagoth, Blood Sky Sire. He's pretty good. 2 colors and a black to play. Demon Rogue 2/3 with Death Touch. He's got a boast ability. It says you pay 1 in black. Target player searches their library for a card and shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. I'm utilizing this for a tutor ability, obviously. I don't expect him to survive, but if he does, I can maybe tutor for more than 1 card off of this one guy. That'd be pretty good, so we'll see. Also running Veto, throwing Despros in this deck. This guy can win games. I see a lot of people running him as their commander. In fact, in my boxing league, somebody started out with Veto as their commander, and he's been doing pretty good. He's won a few games. Veto can out of nowhere, it doesn't matter what deck you throw him in, as long as you've got creatures in it, can help you win games. I mean, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and then all you have to do is pay 3 and double black, and creatures you control gain lifelink till end of turn. That's really gross. This guy can help win games. I like him. All right, I'm going to be running Artist Oracle of Half-Truths in this deck. He's 2 colorless and a blue and a black to play. Human Advisor, 3/2 with Menace. He says when Artist Oracle of Half-Truths enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. I get to put 1 pile into my hand and then the other into my graveyard. So no matter what, you're getting value off of this guy because you want cards both in your hand, obviously, but you also want cards in your graveyard. So pretty good. It's an ETB trigger, so if I need to get Crothus to help me out with that, I think. Obviously the copy will end up dying or whatever, but you just need that ETB trigger, really. Running Erebos the Bleak-Hearted. You know, everybody knows this guy. I've talked about him in the past already. Utilizing him for card draw. My creatures die all the time. So it'd be nice to just get some draw power off of them if that's happening. If I'm desperate, I can sacrifice my creatures to draw and also give -2, -1s to somebody. So pretty good. And like I said, we like draw, so I'm running the other Erebos as well. Erebos, God of the Dead. My opponents can't gain life. I played this on the guy who was running veto, and it turned him off. It was funny. He did not like it at all, and he couldn't figure out a way to get rid of this thing. So it was pretty good. I like the pay 1 and a black, pay 2 life, and draw a card. Pretty good. Running King Makar, the gold curse in this deck, because I need mana in this deck, so this guy's gonna help me with that. If I can figure out a way to get him to become untapped, which I have, you know, you can just attack if you can figure out a way to do it, or make deals with somebody, right? To get the mana that you need. Just promise people that if you're going to hit them with him, that you won't be using his ability on their creatures, because you're going to exile a target creature in order to create the gold token, which is going to give you the mana. So he's a pretty good tool to be used for making deals with people if you need to. I got Thassa, Deep Dwelling in this deck. So the reason why I'm running her in this deck is not so much for the tap target creature, though that is a nice ability. It's for at the beginning of your end step exile. It's one other target creature you control, and then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Like I said, I'm running a lot of EDP triggers in this deck, so it'd be nice to run Thassa in here so that I can utilize the ETBs even at the end of my turn. Speaking of ETB, I'm running Mind Flare, because why not? If I can get I can make multiple copies of Mind Flare. So, like, if nobody's doing anything to Mind Flare, and I make copies of him, and they just stick around, I'm keeping all their stuff for as long as they let me. So, this is really good. And if they let 2 of them exist, they have to figure out a way to kill both of them before Mind Flare is just completely gone. Otherwise, I can keep trying to make copies of him if they're unable to somehow get rid of Krothis. So, pretty fun. Here's somebody new. Roaming Ghostlight. This is not a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent. I knew that going into this with this guy. So, no need for me to think otherwise. He's here for his ETB, so he's 3 colors, double blue to play. He's a 3/2 flyer, Spirit. When Roaming Ghostlight enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand. So this is pretty good ETB trigger that I can try to abuse and utilize if possible to bounce their creatures back to their hands, which is pretty good. Obviously, if they happen to have a spirit, I can't bounce that one type of card, but I don't see very many spirits in play, so this guy should be capable of utilizing his ability when he needs to. And he's a flyer, so he's got evasion, so when he and Krothis go in for an attack and I use him as my copy, it's likely he'll be surviving. So I do have an octopus here. Here we go. Running Sealock Monster. He's a 3 colorless and double blue to play. 5/5 octopus. He says Sealock Monster can't attack unless defending player controls an island. Okay, alright, just keep that in mind. But he does have Monstrosity 3. Pay 5 colorless and double blue to do that. That's a hefty cost. But I mean, if you do that, then Sealock Monster becomes monstrous. Target land becomes an island in addition to its other types. That cost might be worth it to me if they don't have any islands, and if I'm about to run over them by creating multiple copies of Sealock Monster, because if they have an island, then the regular Sealock monsters that will be created from Krothis will be able to attack. So still pretty good, I think. Running Theorix, the Sudden Storm in his deck. He's 3 colors, double blue to play. 4/5 elemental giant with flash and flying. I like this guy because of his ability. Spells you cast with converted mana cost 5 or greater, cost 1 less to cast, and can't be countered. This will be very important in this game. Well, sorry, this deck, but in any game, because this deck runs a lot of high value CMC costs cards, so he's going to help me get those guys out. So I like this guy. All right, in this deck, I'm running Asmodeus the Archfiend. He doesn't seem to be very popular online that I can see, but I think he's cool. He reminds me of Necropotence, so I'm just saying. Yes, I know he's a creature, but I mean, you know, Necropotence. So he's 4 colors, double black to play, 6/6 Devil God. I think it's just funny. There's contradictory statements there. Devil God. Well, that's what this guy is. Anyways, he's got Binding Contract. If you would draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down instead. 3 black, you can draw 7 cards. You pay 1 black to return all cards exiled Asmodeus the Archfiend to their owner's hand, and you lose that much life. I mean, this is so much burst draw. I mean, sure, somebody can kill you. You pay the 3 black to draw 7. They go away and somebody tries to kill this guy. You just, in response, you know, get your cards back. I mean, whatever. I know it's a lot of mana, but I mean, you're going to get a lot of cards. So I think this guy's worth it. In this deck, I'm running Baleful Beholder. He's 4 colors, double black to play. He's a 6/5 Beholder. When he enters the battlefield, I get to choose one. I can do the anti-magic cone if I really want to. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Well, I mean, like, if that's a thing that's going on, yeah, we're going to do that. The other thing we got there is Fear Ray. Creatures you control gain mana until end of turn. That's pretty good. So, I thought this was a good ETB trigger, so I figured I would try this out. Running God Hunter Octopus. It's 5 colors and a blue to play. 5/5 Octopus. God Hunter Octopus can't attack unless defending player controls an enchantment or an enchanted permanent. I have some enchantments that I can enchant on their stuff if I need to. This guy is more of an opportunity card. I'm probably not going to always play him if there's literally no enchantments, then he basically can't attack. Or I can utilize him as a blocker if I really needed to, but he's going to be more of an opportunity card. In this deck, I'm running Garuda, Doom of the Depths. This card is really good in here. 4 colors and either blue, black, twice to play. 6/6 Demon Kraken. I mean, he's a companion, but I couldn't meet the requirements, so I'm not doing that. But he says when he enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. Put a creature card with an even converted mana cost from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control. That's really good. Not only is that really good, Krothus will make multiple copies of Garuda. I know Garuda is a legendary creature. However, they will still exist for their ETB triggers to go off. So you will be able to get, it looks like every time they would attack, he would create 2 copies of himself. They would disappear, but they would both enter. So each player is milling the top 8 cards of their library, and you get to pick 2 creatures from there to put on your side of the field every time. That's pretty good. This is really good. Running this guy. You've seen her before. Ithionia the Cruel. I'm running her in this deck because I needed some way to board wipe just in case. I hope I don't have to really use this too much, but it's a precaution, right? So she's got Death Touch and Monstrosity 3 with a hefty cost, but If you do it, you destroy all non-Gorgon creatures, and she's a Gorgon, so she's going to be sticking around. So, one-sided board wipe, kind of. So, just in case, I run her. Running Arcana Reverent again, because I need the ramp. So, ideally, she'll help me make sure that my swamps can produce additional mana. So, I like her a lot. Running the Undersea Invader in this deck. He's 4 colors, double blue to play, 5/6 giant rogue with flash. Undersea Invader enters the battlefield tapped. Not a big deal. You just flash him in at the end of the turn right before yours. Untap, upkeep, draw, go to combat, swing with Crothus and this guy. Bring in 2 more Undersea. Oh, sorry, only. He's giant rogue, so his multi-trigger won't go off. But at least Undersea Invader will be able to make at least another copy of himself. And that's 10 power swinging at somebody, so that's pretty good. Running Spine Megalodon. 5 colors, double blue to play, 5/7 shark. He has built-in hexproof, that's wonderful. He says whenever Spine Megalodon attacks, you get to scry 1. So I can make 1 copy of this guy, but they have pretty good stats and they have built-in hexproof. So if you make multiple copies of this guy, I think it's pretty good. So running this guy, Stromkirk. He's 5 colors, double blue to play, 8/8 Kraken. He's not really somebody that I'm going to be targeting with Crothus, but I wanted him in my deck just the same. He has hexproof unless it's attacking or blocking. And he can't be blocked unless all creatures defending player controls block it. So he's either going in for his 8-hit, or if they're really desperate, they're going to block with everybody they got, and any other creatures you got going on can go in for an attack. So I like this guy. He could be very useful. Running Ulamog Crusher because Annihilator 2. I love Eldrazi. I love this guy. I was so happy when I got him. And I love playing him. I'm probably going to fling him in as many decks as humanly possible. Also, Hand of Emrakul, because if you're going to run this kind of a deck, you might as well run as many big Eldrazi as you can and get some multiple Eldrazi's going in with their Annihilator triggers. Last but not least, running the Icebreaker Kraken. He's 10 colors, double blue to play, 8/8 Kraken. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control. I mean, I might throw snow lands in this deck, I don't know. Just for this. I have some because my main box set for this league here was Call Time. So I may have some enough snow to cover for that, but that's not really why he's there. He's there because his enter the battlefield ability says artifacts and creatures target opponent controls don't untap on target player's next upkeep, or next untap step, sorry. And his other ability with the snowlands, I'm probably not going to use unless I have a lot of snowlands. I'd have to look. But just the fact that you can make multiple copies of Icebreaker Kraken and have multiple enter the battlefield abilities, you can basically every single turn make it so they can't untap any of their stuff. I mean, they'll have their lands, but any of their stuff that's tapped is pretty much like going to sleep. And you can keep doing that. So this guy's pretty gross in this deck, and I am happy to be playing him. So that's all my creatures, which is a lot. I got a lot of creatures in this deck. I mean, first you got a lot of creatures. This guy cares about creatures, so you run a lot of creatures. Running Faint Death, black instant. Until on turn, target creature gains when this creature dies. Return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a 1/1/1 counter. Help me with my EDB, helping me bring back my commander if I need to. Running Otherworldly Gaze. It's 1 blue instant. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order. Also has flashback for colors in blue. Utilizing this to try to make sure I got some creatures in my graveyard so that I can get Krothos out if I need to. If I want to. Running Vendetta, spot removal, right? Black instant, destroy a target non-black creature. Can't be regenerated, you lose life, equal the creature's toughness. Running Demonic Gifts. Colors black instant. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains when this creature dies. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control. See a theme. Running Poison the Cup. Destroy target creature. This spell was foretold. It's got foretell. I love foretell. You get to scry too. Love this card. Love foretell. Running Drag to the Underworld. I mean, the cost of the spell will differ depending on what's going on, but you get to destroy a creature, so pretty good. Running Memory Deluge. It's 2 colors, double blue to play instant. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast this spell. Put 2 of them into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. It also has flashback for 5 and double blue. So this card's really good to help me sift through my deck to find exactly what it is that I need. Running Rescue from the Underworld. It's 4 colors and a black instant. As an additional cost to cast Rescue from the Underworld, sacrifice a creature. Choose target creature card in your graveyard, return that card and a sacrificed card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of your next upkeep, and then exile Rescue from the Underworld. This is really good. Help me with graveyard recursion. Now, if you guys don't know this guy, it's pretty fun. Polymorphous Rush. This can help you win games. It's 2 colors and a blue instant. It's got Strive. Polymorphous Rush costs 1 colors and a blue more to cast for each target beyond the first. Choose a creature on the battlefield. Any number of target creatures you control each become a copy of that creature until end of turn. You can easily utilize this just to be able to get something that you really like to become like Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent if you happen to have one on the field already, in order to get multiple copies of that particular card. Otherwise, you can utilize this to have something, if you've got multiple creatures out, to become something so big and gross, like, oh, I don't know, like an Eldrazi or something, to go in for a kill, or just wipe everything, you know, with all the Annihilator triggers. So this is a really good card. I love running it. Oh, looks like that's my instance. Okay, no problem. No problem at all. Moving forward. Running Strategic Planning. 1 color and a blue. Sorcery. It says look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Again, this is helping me getting the setup. Running Grim Tutor. You guys have seen this guy before. Basically, I get to tutor whatever I need. Running Raven Form. I love this card. I love Foretell. Targets any artifact or creature, and you get to exile it. Very good. I'm running Return Upon the Tide. It's 4 colors and a black sorcery. Says return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's an elf, create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, and it also has Foretell. I love Foretell. I don't think I have any elves in this deck except for what's his name? The shapeshifter. So if I were to bring him back, I'd get some elves, but more often than not, I'm just using it for the graveyard recursion. So running Reoccurring Insight is a good card. It's a 4 colorless double blue to play sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in target opponent's hand. It also has Rebound. If you don't know what Rebound is, you can cast a spell from your hand, or if you cast a spell from your hand, exile it as it resolves. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you may cast this card from exile without paying its mana cost. So, really good card. Nice burst draw. Running Sea God's Revenge. It's 5 colorless and blue to play sorcery. It says return up to 3 target creatures your opponent's control to their owner's hands. And you get to scry 1. This is pretty good to get rid of some pesky creatures. You could just, I mean, ideally hopefully their board's not very big. You can utilize this to bounce some of the important things and then swing in for a win maybe. So, good card. Let's see here. Got some artifacts. Running Springleaf Drum. I can tap an untapped creature I control to add 1 mana of any color to my mana pool. Pretty good. Golden Vine Pick. Helps me create treasure, and treasure's good. You guys seen this before. Mirror Shield, running this to help give hexproof to my big stuff. So hopefully I can put this on Crothus so they can't really do much to them. Running a dungeon map because I need ramp. Not really going to utilize the venture, but I could if I need to. Heraldic Banner. Again, I need ramp, so I'm running this guy. Raiders, Carve, Creve. Get me lands into play. Ramp. That's what he's here for. And Replicating Ring. This card's actually pretty good. If you don't know, it's 3 colorless snow artifact to play. You tap it to add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter Replicating Ring. If it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them. Create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicating Ring with tap, add 1 mana of any color. This is pretty good. Late game could definitely help you win. I believe that's it for my artifacts here. I have a few enchantments. Let's take a look here. Running Bind the Monster. I like this guy. It's a blue enchantment aura. Enchant creature. When Bind the Monster enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Deals damage to you equal to its power. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap up, so it puts them to sleep like that. Running Frogify because I'm mean. I love this. Turn whatever into a frog. Good if they get a pesky commander. Now it's a pesky frog, and hopefully everybody will let its 1/1 hit go through. Or if it really wants to utilize it as a blocker, sure, whatever. Charm Sleep. We like putting things to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. You put this on somebody and they don't untap. Night night. I like this card. I like it a lot. The Trickster God's Heist. It's 2 colorless and a blue and a black to play. Enchantment Saga. First part of the saga says you may exchange control of 2 target creatures. I love that. Second part says you may exchange control of 2 target non-basic, non-creature permanents that share a creature type. I love that. The third one says target player loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. I think that last part there is just a spit in the eye. So this card's fun to play. I love it. Good stuff. Running Ashiok, Nightmare Weaver in this deck. You guys have seen him before, I think. He's here just for his -10. I mean, he gives me value, so do not get me wrong. The reason I put him in here is -10. So his +2 says exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library, right? His -X says put a creature card with converted mana cost X exiled with Ashiok onto the battlefield under your control. That creature is a nightmare in addition to its other types. That's pretty good. So if you're coming up against some sort of pesky deck with nasty creatures, you can try taking them. But the -10's where it's at. Exile all cards from all opponents' hands and graveyards. You do that, and if you're on top of the game, they're going to have a rough time, and you're probably just going to win the game. So I like this guy. He's really good. And when it comes to lands, again, because I'm doing League, it's kind of hard to get lands. So I'm running Ice Tunnel. I can tap it for either blue or black, and it comes in tapped. It's an island in a swamp. I also got this guy, Tyra Sanctum. I've talked about it already, but this is actually really good, especially in Commander, I think. You can tap it for colorless. You can pay 2 to tap it to target legendary creature, becomes a god in addition to its other types, and then you get to put +1/+1 counter on it. You can pay 4, sacrifice Tyra Sanctum, and put it in indestructible counter on target god. This card's really good, especially in Commander. You should probably see more of this in play. You can make your commanders into gods and make them indestructible if nobody does anything about the process. And then their commander becomes much more difficult to kill. So I can turn Grothus, Lord of the Deep, into a god, and I can make it indestructible, and then you have to deal with this. And he becomes hard to deal with. So, as far as the rest of my lands go, I run a bunch of, basics. But like I said, I probably have a pretty good amount of snow lands, so I'd probably end up running those as well. This guy is really good to play. He's fun, he's strong, he's powerful, the deck's good. I suggest you guys trying him out if you haven't. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Runo, Stromkirk, pretty good. If you guys like the video, like, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching this and taking the time to view my deck. Let me know what you guys think. I'm happy to respond to your guys' comments. I'm going to do what I can to make as many deck techs as possible. And if you guys keep watching, that tells me that I'm just going to keep going. Thank you very much for your time. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate you.